We had a demographics report done this last fall, and they're estimating over the next 5 to 10 years, we have estimates of student growth. And we know our current capacities, we know what we're capable of taking in, and we're going to exceed our capacities in these schools around the district. Now, we have some schools that have already exceeded capacity, like South, and we have some that have already been over capacity, like at the Laurel Middle School, and they've dipped down a little in the last few years with the COVID and some kids going homeschool and such. Those numbers are starting to come back up, and we're once again going to be over capacity. So one of our solutions was to move the fifth grade into the elementary setting. We felt like it was a more educationally appropriate setting for those students, and also it would address capacity issues that we have at the middle school and allow for growth there. But we also need to address them at all the schools, because we're going to be over capacity at all schools in the next 5 to 10 years.
All right, we ready?
Yeah. Go, Cece.
All right, go straight to our classroom, please. Where you going? Straight to our classroom. Oh, are you okay? All right, let's go, guys. I know it is.
Our capacity is over full, and we've got auxiliary schoolrooms at both Graff and South. These auxiliary classrooms that we have don't have facilities in them, bathroom facilities. Consequently, kids have to go in when it's cold out, when it's miserable. They have to go to lunch, music, anything that is associated with the rest of the school. They have to travel through the weather. And this is unacceptable for our children in their learning environment.
But one of the things I think we looked at immediately was the educational inadequacies within our buildings. For example, we have heating and cooling issues, and that's not a great educational environment when you have heating issues. Kids might have to wear stocking caps or gloves if we have a heating problem in the high school or in the elementary schools. We do have some issues with cooling in those buildings as well. And those buildings can be very, very warm, especially in August and September and in the spring. And that isn't always the best educational environment for students.
Well, all the elementary schools, and to a certain part the high school, are 60 to 70 years old. Much of the systems that are existing are old, worn out, they're nickel and diming us, and do not provide an adequate environment for our students. The heating system is ancient. The boilers are starting to fail on us. We've got structural problems throughout the schools that need to be mitigated. That's an expensive proposition. The lighting throughout the schools is old and needs to be upgraded. We're presently going through and replacing some of the existing fluorescent lights, and in some cases incandescent lighting, with new LED type lighting. That's a costly, and it takes time, and we're doing that as quickly as we possibly can, still being fiscally responsible.
I have issues with safety, and that includes the high school building where we have kids exiting and entering into different facilities throughout the day. In addition to schools are just not set up to have safe environments as people come into those buildings where the offices can see who comes in and out. Oftentimes those are blind spots within our buildings, and we've tried to address some of those things, but again, those are some inadequacies we have for safety. These buildings lack a lot of collaborative spaces. We don't have the collaborative spaces within our elementaries, especially places where kids can get together. We don't have a commons area in a lot of our schools, and that can be an issue, especially when we're talking from an educational perspective. At the high school, I know we have some career technical education issues out at our shop. Those facilities can be an absolute treasure trove for kids moving forward academically, and prepare kids for the future jobs that don't necessarily involve a 4-year school. but we have to have the facilities in which to do that. And we have a lot of issues in our CTE facilities, in our shop, and our ag ed departments. We'd like to address some of those issues. Just really trying to create a better educational environment for our students and for the community. And we're trying to look at what our options are. And one of the things that we'd be able to solve, in addition to all the other issues that we have, is we can solve those capacity issues by looking at new facilities or a renovation of existing facilities, adding a few classrooms, preparing for that growth that we're seeing that's said to be coming in the demographics report. That is a worry that we have, and we'd rather be a year or two ahead of schedule instead of caught behind the 8 ball down the road where we're a year or two behind schedule, where we have to bring in more outbuildings, more kids outside of, for example, South Elementary, where we already have 3 outbuildings, where we have a library and classrooms, multiple classrooms outside of the school in additional structures. We would just as soon not have to expand on that. That costs money and it's temporary. We're trying to be responsible with the money, trying to address our capacity issues, trying to address all the issues of maintenance and that educational structure that we want to provide for kids. We're trying to bring that all together by moving forward on the renovation and on the potential new construction.